Hey guys, what's going on today? Now this is a video that I have delayed since about Season 2 of Cold War, but nonetheless, it is here finally. And today's video is basically going to be about the XM177E2 build that you can make out of the XM4, and I like to say it's one of my favorite weapons that I've used throughout Warzone's lifespan. I haven't used it recently with all like the new guns and other builds that I have been able to make, but I think it's still a good build, and I think I will try it out more now. But anyways, let's get in the video. Let's get into the video. Anyways, so as you can see, I'll go over some basic, but first though, I'll go over some a background on the gun, and I'm using mostly from Wikipedia. Is basically what I can see is basically in 1960s, the U.S. had tested out the CAR-15 Model 607 submachine gun in Vietnam, but it had a lot of shortcomings, like overwhelming muzzle blast and an overly complicated, unreliable, kind of collapsible stock. So what the military did was they Colt came up with the XM177, which came up with the whole like CAR-15 family of those guns. And those in that family, mostly in the production history of it, is the XM177, XM177E1, the XM177E2, the GAU-5-A, and the GAU-5A-A. Now, we're going to be going over the variant of the XM177E2 today in the vid, and as you can see, I didn't make a saved blueprint of it. But first, so basically, there you go, guys. That is a little background. So basically, it was created essentially, to the MAC-V SOG, essentially. As in Wikipedia, it says that basically the Army purchased 510 Colt 629 commandos for use by troops assigned to the MAC Military Assistant, Command Vietnam Studies and Observation Group, and designated that XM177E2. So these were basically almost made for the MAC-V SOG, which on the blueprint we'll be using, which I'll go over the blueprints real quick. The blueprint you want to use this build is the SOG Commando build. I believe it's like 1,200 COD points from the bundle it came from. I might check, I believe, from like a bundle called Tactical Grouping, I believe it's called, yeah. Or you can use the Inconspicuous blueprint, which is from the Full Power bundle, like Season 1. It's around the same price, like 1,300 COD points. But anyways, I like this one because, as you can see on the default mag, they have like a reference to the MAC-V SOG, which I think is cool. Since the build to the XM177E2, basically it was made for the MAC-V SOG in Vietnam. But anyways, so that's the blueprint we're using. Now, we're gonna get into the attachments. Now, but before that, guys, I'm actually gonna link the article about the XM177 family, like the CAR-15. So if you guys want to learn more, I'll link it in the description down below. Anyways, let's get on to the build. Now, before that, I would say this gun, or this build, is one of my favorite weapons to use in the game throughout Warzone's history, since it started, because I think it was just so cool, and it's very powerful. I'm not gonna make like a meta, like, oh my god, this video, this gun needs to be, meta, and you guys need to use a setup. It's just a cool setup I've used for a while, and I'd say it grew on me really fast, because I thought it was cool. You could make like the commando, the actual one, the CAR-15, XM177 in the game, or XM177E2 in this instance. But anyways, let's get into it. Agency suppressor is going to be the first attachment. Now, the pros being sound suppressor, the vertical recoil control, the bullet velocity, and the effective damage range. Now, the cons being aim speed, aim walking steadiness, and aiming stability. I think since I believe they did buff the regular suppressor, you could run it, as you can see, almost essentially the same pros a little bit, but a little different. Like sound suppression, aim down sight speed, bullet velocity, and sprint to fire speed being the pros. The cons being effective damage range. But as you can see, the accuracy, damage, and range do go down kind of a bit, while the mobility and control go up a lot. It's up to you guys. You can use whatever you want. You can use any of these, but I just think I'm gonna stick with the agency for now. And yeah. So our next attachment, or I'll call these permanent attachments, like the ones that will stay, that you cannot change. If you wanted to run it like the real thing. But anyways, the 11.8-inch barrel is the next attachment I'd say you'd have to run to make this build. Now, you'd have to run this because the real life barrel size for the XM177E2 is 11.5 inches. Now, this is a little bigger, but I think it's the closest. As you can see, there's 12.5 inch, 13.5, 13.7, 13.7, and 13.5. So I think, this is the closest you can get to it. And the pros being bullet velocity, and there's no cons. So I think that's a really good barrel to use. Now, the next attachment you can use, that I think is like a mainstay you'd have to use on this build, is the mounted flashlight. Now, I wouldn't use a laser because I think the laser is like, very like modern-esque. It's not like something they would use in the 80s that much, I think. But you can use it if you want. I won't. But you can use any of these, like the soft target designator, pros being effective damage range and hipfire accuracy, cons being flashlight visible to enemies. Also for the mounted flashlight, the pros being movement speed and aim walking movement speed, cons being flashlight visible to enemies. And the Tiger Team Spotlight, which I think is the worst version of the mounted flashlight. Its pros being movement speed and aim walking movement speed, cons being flashlight visible to enemies, which I don't think really matters to both the flashlights. I mean, personally, it hasn't affected me in any way when I have used this build, throughout the last few months. I don't think it's affected me, so I think you'll be fine if you use it. And then the last thing you can use possibly is the Ember sighting point, which the pros being effective damage range and hipfire accuracy, cons being flashlight visible to enemies, aim down sight times, and sprint to fire time. Also, the cons, if I haven't said them, were the flashlight visible to enemies and aiming stability for the Tiger Team Spotlight. But I think I'm going to stick with the mounted flashlight. You guys can use any of those. You can swap them out if you want. Or maybe you could just use a different stock, maybe like the Raider pad if you want it. I think it looks a little weird compared to the default one, but it's up to you guys. You can use whatever you want. Now, the next attachment, this is a little bit, you can change this one. I use the Salvo 60 round fast mag. Now, I usually play like, I mostly play like solos and like rebirth quads usually. So I might use this, maybe because I just want more ammo, but it also is good because if you're in like firefights with 4 guys, this will help. You don't have to really reload. But in solos, you can use maybe like the default mag, because I mean, as you can see, the default mag does look cool. With like the MacV song and logo on it and the tape. It does look cool, but I think I'll stick with the Salvo. Now, you might say to use the regular one because, it's better. Because as you can see on the little like chart, the mobility goes down for the Salvo 60 round fast mag. I mean, you could use it, but personally, I don't think I would use the Snag 60 round because, I don't know how I feel. Now, the pros being ammo capacity and the cons being aim down sight time and reload quickness, while for the Salvo 60 round fast mag, its ammo capacity goes up, its reload quickness goes up for the pros, and then cons being aim down sight time. So I think it's really up to you. I personally don't think this looks, like to the real one, but you guys can use whatever one you want. You can use the clamp mags. Any of the clamp mags are fine. 40 round speed mag's fine. Even though the 45 doesn't look exactly like the real mag, you can still use it. You can use basically whatever one you want on this one, or you can even swap it for an underbarrel, which I don't really recommend, but you can do it. Or you can swap it out for an optic, such as like the mill stop, which is the I believe what was it, the red dot or reflex, no, red dot in Black Ops 1, which I always liked how they added that. But as you can see, it removes the front iron sight, but it keeps the M16 carrying handle, which is it's cool. But you can use something like the Millstop, Vision Tech, Quick Dot, Axle Arms, Silix Hollow Scout, and Microflex is too a little modern because those red dots are like the ones you see in MW2. So MW3, excuse me, but that's what they would use in the modern day. I don't think that's too to the 80s. Hawksmoor, I'd say is fine. Suzat and Roan Cross, I don't think is really that good. But if you do have, I believe for the Corpse Killer Blueprint it was called or whatever, from that bundle with like the the sight that looked, I think it came from the Royal Cross, made it look like an ACOG. You can almost run that on this and it would look perfect. So I think that's fine if you want to run that. And yeah, but I don't think you'd want to run the default one anyways. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep that. Now, my final attachment for this build of one of my favorite guns I've used throughout Warzone, is history essentially, is the Airborne Elastic Wrap. Now, originally I had used the SASR Jungle Grip because the pros being aim down sight time and flinch resistance, cons being sprint to fire time. The Airborne Elastic Wrap's pros being the aim down sight time and flinch resistance and aiming stability, cons being ADS firing movement speed, the firing movement speed and the sprint to fire time. Now, I think I had heard that like the grips were a little busted before. I don't remember, but I think I'd heard like how the Airborne was slower, or I think it was more powerful, I forgot. But I just used this one because the control I think is really crucial to this gun since I'm not using a grip, and the XM4 does have a fair amount of recoil without a grip, so I think this would help more. I originally used this, even though as you can see the control goes down a little bit and the mobility goes up though. So it's kind of a little bit of a good trade-off, but I think I'm going to stick with the Airborne. You can use the Serpent. It's almost the same thing as the SASR Jungle Grip, but the controls isn't as worse, and also the mobility on the Serpent isn't as better. You can use the Field Tape if you want, if you haven't got to those grips. Same thing like I said with these last two ones. They're just lesser for each of the two categories. This one kind of buffs them actually a little bit, the drop shot wrap for mobility and control. They both, for the control goes down a little bit and the mobility goes up. The pros being aim down sight time and flinch resistance. And now for the first one, speed tape, you can use this one. It's really not that good though. It's only good at early levels. Pros only being aim down sight time, as you can see. So I think this is the best grip to use. You can use, I'd say, either three of these. These are the best three grips you can use. But I think I'll stick with the Airborne. And yeah, guys. So yeah, I was running it with the ZRG since about like season 3, because I just figured they were two of my favorite guns, to use throughout Warzone, and I just put them together. Now they probably wouldn't use them together in the real world, since the ZRG kind of came out like after, the XM177E2 like really came out like about almost 20 years or so. But anyways, that's why I had been using a ZRG in the loadout, because they're just two of my favorite guns and they're just awesome guns. But lastly with my video about this build is we're going to see what operators. Now I was using this cool Beck skin, which I might do a review of eventually, maybe a video. I'll have to see. I might do maybe like a video on how to make like a German loadout for the faction that Beck comes from, the Deinsteinheit, or however you say it. I probably butchered it, but I might make a video about it and use that skin. But anyways, some good skins to use with this. I would easily say this ADLER skin from season 4, the new one, from like the cutscene. Let's see if I can find it, if it would load. Is the boarding party one. That looks like a great skin you can use. You can use the Ranger skin, that's fine. Stalker skin, none of those skins I don't think you can use really. I don't know, you can use them, but I don't think they look that good. Now you can use skins like the Renegade, which is actually, I believe, based off a famous Vietnam sniper. I forgot the name of him, but he is based off a famous Vietnam sniper, which is cool, so it kind of blends in with the whole Vietnam. You can use his default one, and you can even use the Traveler one, which I think kind of looks like the Op 40 guys from Black Ops 1. But yeah, those are really the skins. Now, the Bright Star one is, yeah, I don't really use that one, I don't really like the red of it. The Beirut one, you can definitely almost use, since it's based off the Operation Desert Storm type trooper from around the early 90s. You can use it with it. They still were using the CAR-15 around then, so you can still use it. But I don't think they were exactly using the XM177E2. So, but yeah, those are the skins you can use for Adler. I mean, you could even use the razor wire skin, since it looks like Platoon, the movie, which is nice. And then you can even use this skin, which I just kind of hate this skin because everyone runs it and it's kind of annoying to see. But you can even run that if you want, or you can run any of these variations of skins. You can run any of his variations if you want, but those are mostly the skins I would run. Now for Baker, I mostly used the new skin that came in this battle pass, or I originally was going to use them, but I had the pre-order deep dive one, which looks really nice, like a nice little Navy SEAL skin from the 60s and 70s and 80s, which looks nice. You can use the runner skin, which is a variation of the other skin I will show. You can use the nosedive, since it's not that bad. It's a pilot, so I mean it makes sense. US tanker, that kind of makes sense. You can use that as well. That's more I think personally, from looking at it, that's more like Desert Storm type skin. You can use the brush fire. You can't really use this one, the Marty McFly skin. You can use it if you want. I wouldn't, but you can use it if you have it. The varmint skin. This is definitely a skin you can use with it, even though the XM177E2 kind of predates when the skin's supposed to be made. This skin's supposed to be modeled after the early 90s type troopers and the Desert Storm type, but you can still use it. So the roughneck skin for Baker, I think it's having a little trouble, so we might come back to that one. The pitcher skin from season 1, I believe, oh yeah, it's this one. The variations of these ones with the varsity type jacket, those are fine if you want to use those. The default version of him is fine. You can even use the roughneck one if you want. I just wish I could see it if it would load, so we might come back to see that one. But you can use any of these skins, essentially. I think you could, or you can use other ones. Bulldozer, I have his default operator from season 1, so you can use Bulldozer. I think he kind of makes sense. Actually, now that I think about it, he doesn't really make sense with it, because the gun predates kind of when the skin's supposed to be around. Hunter, I don't know. Hunter is definitely one you can use, because you can use skins like his default one. You can use his transport skin in the outpost watch, and the other variation of it you can use. The infantry skin from season 2. You can use the Pathfinder skin from season 3. Is a nice skin. I remember seeing it. It's alright if you want to use it. It doesn't look that bad, but I think it's not really US military type look. And now this Desert Surge one is the Black Hawk Down skin, but unfortunately this doesn't really make sense with this gun, because by that time they were using the M4 in 1993 when the little invasion in Somalia happened there with the US. They weren't really using the XM177E2, so you can kind of not really use this one, but you can use his default one or any of the other ones. Honestly, you can almost just use the default one with them. But you can use any of these, they're all nice. I like Hunter skins, they're really nice. Now, Amphibian is, I haven't seen this one. So, like I said, you can use any of the variations, especially the one for the, Desert Storm skin that's, greenish. It's, more not deserty and more like woodland. You can use any of those. I don't like them because I like it for, the, whole Afghan Somalia there, the Black Hawk Down movie, great movie, and I like that. Now another operator, you can't really use Samantha Maxis with it. You can't really use John McClane. You could if you wanted to use them. Park, I mean you could, but I don't think it would make sense much with the gun, since I don't believe the British ever used the gun. They might have, I'm not sure. Place of origin is the United States, essentially, so I don't think they'd use it. Same with Captain Price. Rambo actually would make a lot of it, because Rambo was a part of the MACV SOG, so it's kind of like perfect. And yeah, I think he could use it. Revis, I don't have a skin for her, but here's the skin actually for Rambo. Is just the default John Rambo skin, but if you guys wanted to see it, for some reason my game won't load it. Oh, there it is. Salah, he doesn't really make sense with the gun. He is from the Egyptian Unit 777, so I don't think they ever used it, so he doesn't really make sense with it. Now, Sims is perfect for this gun, because he is part of the MACV SOG, of course. So you can use the combat medic skin. This is like the very Desert Storm type, war in Afghanistan type skin, war on terrorism type skin. So you can use that. It wouldn't make much sense with it. The security detail skin, I believe, is the one with like the military cap on, like the vest. It looks more like a PMC to me. Doesn't really make sense with it. The Urgent Fury though is the one you would want to use. It's the one that makes it like kind of like the ADLER Renegade one, but a little better. It looks a lot, a lot. I wouldn't say a lot, but a little better. It looks the same almost, but it looks nice. Season 1, definitely you can use Team Leader. I believe that's the MACV SOG one, or the Grizzled one. Either one. I believe the Team Leader is like the one that's deserty with the MACV SOG logo on it. It's definitely a skin that fits with the gun. And now, the default one you can use as well. Now, Song, I usually use her, but I don't think she makes much sense with the gun. She looks cool when you hold it, when she holds it, but it looks, it doesn't really make much sense, with the South Koreans. I don't believe they used it. Maybe they used it in, like, tandem during Vietnam, Vietnam, so, it might make sense there, but I don't think it makes much sense for her to have it. Now, Wolf is a perfect one, and as you can see, I only have his bundle skin, the original one, because, I believe he's very Vietnam, because I believe in his bio. Let's see. See if I can preview his bio. How do you do it now? There it is. You can, see he, learned to hunt in the bayou surrounding his grandparents' Louisiana home. Entering service on his 18th birthday in memory of his fallen brother, he now stalks more dangerous prey as an elite Delta Force sniper. And I believe he joined in 1975, which is the end of Vietnam, so he probably wouldn't have been doing much. So now that I think about it, he probably doesn't fit with the gun, but he just looks awesome, and he's going to be on the thumbnail of this video, as a matter of fact, with it, which I took a while back, and he looks nice with it. I'll just say that. Even though it doesn't really fit in with, like, the time period, he still looks nice with it. Now, Woods easily makes sense. Campaign, kind of, spoiler warning, he was part of the MACV SOG, and he did fight in Vietnam, so I mean, he really does make sense. Now, you can use the Windjammer one, which is the one with the, like, beanie, which looks really nice. You can use his default one, which makes him look like from the BO2 mission. Then the Stinger one from Season 3, it kind of fits, but it's a little weird, so I wouldn't count it. And now the Trucker one, that doesn't really make sense at all. I only bought this one, so I could try to make, like, a little, like, AR-15, like from the 50s, out of the M16 bundle, but I might even cover that in a video. But anyways, those are the two skins that you can really use from his first two. Now, Zaina doesn't really make much sense since she's from the, I believe, the DGI? The DGSE, my bad. And so, she doesn't really make sense to use the gun, because I don't believe Senegal ever used it, so it doesn't really make sense to use her, but you can use her if you want. Now, none of the Warsaw Pact guys really make sense. Antonov, because he's Russian. I don't think in the Cold War they used American guns. Same thing with Beck, since he would have been part of the Warsaw Pact, and they wouldn't have American weapons. Garcia wouldn't make much sense. Jack wouldn't make much sense. Knight wouldn't make much sense, even though he is SAS. Or MI6, actually, I believe. But yeah, it wouldn't make sense still. Naga, he might have used it if he might have picked it up in Vietnam. But I don't think he'd use it. Portnova wouldn't really use it for the same reasons as Antonov and Beck. Powers actually might use it since he is ex-USMC, so she might have used it. Some good skins to use are maybe the default one, the Coyote Dust one from Season 2, Blank Slate, and I'd say that's about it, because the Frontline one from Season 4, it looks alright, but you can use any of the variants of these two. Like I said, guys, just if I haven't said you can use the variants, you can use all the variants of the skins, but those are mostly the skins I want to show. And also, I would like to say sorry for not being able to see them. For some reason, they won't load in. But anyways, Stitch doesn't make much sense, and Stone, I'm a little contested on him. Now, you can use the Siege skin or the default one, but the Instigator one makes him look very like he's from Vietnam, so you can even use that, even though he is British. I still think it's a little weird. You know, just like how Park had a very Vietnamese skin, I still think it's a little weird to use her because with the thing, you know, with the XM177E2, just like how with this skin that makes Stone, you know, look like an American trooper in Vietnam. I think it's very weird, so I wouldn't use it. You could if you wanted to. The Breach skin you can use. The Wolf skin I guess you can use. I haven't seen in a bit, so I don't remember, but you can use any of these skins or any other skin you have. But I mainly suggest the Siege skin because I would say it's the second best beautiful skin Cold War has made, behind the Black Hawk Down skin in this season's Battle Pass. But this is the one you would mainly want to use if you're going to run him with it. And I used to actually do that because, you know, I just love this operator skin. Vargas, he doesn't really make much sense since I mean, they did use American weapons like the M60, but I still think that Vargas using it is a little weird to me, but you can use them if you want. Now, our last operator today is WRAITH, and I probably won't use any Modern Warfare operators with it since it's more of a Cold War gun, so I think I might stick to all the Cold War operators. But anyways, WRAITH doesn't make much sense because, you know, I mean, you could use all her skins, but, you know, all the variants and the skins of it. But I don't think she kind of fits in with it because, you know, from being, I believe she's from what, Norway? It doesn't really make much sense to use like an American, like Vietnam-esque gun. So they have, and yeah, I don't think she really would use it. But anyways, guys, as I was gonna say earlier, there you have it, guys. I have finally, this is the final showcase essentially of one of my favorite guns to use in Warzone, in you know, just the long run of Warzone. And yeah, guys, there you go, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, learning about how this gun operated, and you know, how it just was a really, you know, interesting with the operators, and what operators really mixed in well with the gun, and what to use. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I finally got to put it out, guys, so I'm sorry for really delaying it for a long time. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed it. Remember to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you never miss any of my videos. And also remember to hit the like button